Alright guys, here we go. It is officially 2021, so it is time to do the obligatory New Year, New Me, or at least the New Year, New Skates video, right? Well, sort of, but not exactly in this video. See, I do have new skates on the way, but there's been some shipping delays. I don't expect to get them at my house for about another week, which is going to translate to probably 2 or 3 weeks before you guys get to see them. So for now, I'm going to skate a pair of skates that is new to me, some that cause a little bit of controversy on the online forums. For those of you that follow me on Instagram, you may have seen me post about wanting to flow like Joe Atkinson, and all you need is some Salomons and some Famus wheels. So today is the day I finally go skate these skates I picked up about a month and a half ago. The ST ones, I've got the Famus wheels on there, the Intuition liners in them. See if I can go flow like Joe. Now I know there are die-hard Salomon fans out there that they will only skate this. This is the only thing that fits their foot. Nothing skates like it, and I've never really understood that because I had these skates when I started skating aggressively, and my memories of them aren't that fond. I did buy them for nostalgia reasons, but it wasn't because I remember being able to do tricks super well in them. But that opinion is informed by my first year as an aggressive skater, and I'm a much better skater now. So I am curious, at my current skill level, how these hold up. How do these compare to modern skates? And if all the hoopla about bringing back the Salomon mold is really something we should be listening to, and is there tech from these skates that we should really incorporate into modern skates? And to find out, today I'm out here at Roanoke Skatepark outside of Dallas. One of the locals, Tom, was kind enough to pick me up, bring me out here, so let's see what we can get into. Alright, just like my last few sessions, I am out here on a weekday, on a beautiful day, which shouldn't complain about, but of course it is super packed, so I think we're going to try to sneak out a little corner by that curved ledge and session that for a little while. We'll see what else we can get into, but probably mostly going to skate that the rest of this video. Alright, so that does it for the session out there in Roanoke outside of Dallas. Huge thank you to the locals that showed up and skated with me. Had an amazing time skating with you guys. If anybody is ever in the Dallas area, be sure to check out. There's a Thursday night skate that goes down every week, and the Dallas scene is massive and amazing. Bunch of really good skaters out there and all nice people, so be sure to check that out if you're ever in the Dallas area. But again, thank you to you guys for skating with me and showing me a good time. But let's dive into talking about this boot. Not going to talk about the politics of it, whether it's an industry killer or not, but just the pros and cons, I think, of this boot and what, if anything, current skate manufacturers should be taking from this boot and incorporating into modern skates. Alright, so I don't have a lot of negative things to say about this skate, so I'm going to start with the cons, but before that, I want to mention these wheels again. If you are a skate park skater, look into investing in some Famus wheels. These things are incredible. You have to put no effort into rolling. They roll so fast and so smooth. It is like night and day difference between like a standard urethane wheel. Highly, highly recommend these wheels. But as far as the boots go, I've only got a couple of cons for these things, and they're kind of nitpicky. The first one is that, honestly, it's kind of ugly, especially the way that this heel comes all the way back. Certain models don't look as bad as others. The black models, the navy blue model, I think this one and the ST9 that's kind of a whitish khaki color also look pretty good, but a lot of them, especially if your pants are over the top of it or whatever, for some reason these skates are just pretty ugly and bulky. They look like a ski boot or something. Not the most attractive skate in the world. Not a deal breaker for me. They're kind of a lovable ugly once you start getting into the skate, but first glance, not a huge fan of the look of this skate, but it doesn't really affect how it skates. The only other issue I really have with this thing is the buckle design, with the receptor being in the front right here. I had a couple of tricks, like alley-oop top horns and stuff like that I would kick this and open the buckle system. Again, not a huge deal because I'm only doing skate park tricks, but you know, if you're skating bigger stuff, it can be a big deal to have your cuffs pop open. Luckily, there is enough support in this cuff that even with it open, you're probably going to be okay. But, you know, if they were still making this skate, I venture to say they would change this design to a more modern one. It's a little more protected over on the side. But honestly, that's about it. For me and my personal foot fit, the toe box is a little tall. It's a little roomy in there for me, but I've got normal to narrowish feet. But for the big-footed guys, I know they like this skate because this toe box has so much room in it. You can move your toes all around if you want. And that really does it for me on the cons list. I know some people out there prefer a wider sole and think these are a little bit small. For me, that's a pro though, so I'm gonna throw that on the pro list. But I'm gonna start from the bottom and work my way up because most of what I have to say about this skate is good. And the first thing is something I absolutely think skate companies now should be looking into and incorporating into their own products. And whatever this plastic formula is, the sole plates and the frame slide incredibly. Like unwaxed coping, unwaxed ledges, it just slides. I mean, it's not like, you know, it's not going to slide perfectly on everything, but it slides really smooth and really consistent and relatively fast, even on unwaxed coping. And it is the best feeling plastic slide that I've skated in as long as I can remember. So definitely, I think Sola used it in the plastic H blocks for those frames. And man, if other companies could make sole plates out of this material, I think it would improve the lives of every blader across the world. So huge pro is the plastic that was used to make these is incredible. Another huge pro of this skate for me is this frame design. I think is amazing. Now this actually isn't UFS. It is a pre-UFS sole frame, which is also incredible and something I would like to see come back because the energy transfer in a sole frame is just great and you can get things to sit really low. But even then, their UFS frame is very similar to this. This skate came stock with a 55mm flat setup, and I'm skating 60 flat in it, and I was doing front farbs, which I'm terrified of, on ledges, and no wheel bite issues at all. I mean, this frame is just a great flat frame design, which is awesome for me. I would love to see a design very similar to this come back because it's got a bit deeper of a groove than a symmetric, but not too terribly deep where it's an issue. And it is just, I mean, it's just a fantastic design for a flat frame. All right, moving up, the next thing is the backslide groove on this thing, which I did not expect to enjoy this at all, but because there's not really much of a backslide groove. Coming off a USD where the backslide grooves are massive and all that, and you've just got this tiny little hook back here, but the design of it, when this thing locks in and everything lines up, once it gets in this hook, it is not coming off. Savannahs and Royales have never felt as good. Like, I feel like I can do Billy Prislin level Savannahs, like the old head version of Savannah, a 270 back Savannah, which is not a trick I'm comfortable with at all. And man, whenever the ledge catches in this thing, you are not coming off. I think this is an incredible groove design. And the more I look at it, I used to think that the them backslide groove was kind of a weird, interesting choice, but the more I look at it, the more I start to see design cues off of this, and the more interested I get in skating that skate. So bravo to them for taking some design cues from a well-loved boot. It was probably a good call. I haven't skated it yet, so we'll see what the verdict is on that, but absolutely love this backslide groove. And the last thing, which I was completely surprised by, I've always looked at this cuff design and thought it was a little bit weird and didn't understand how it worked, but after skating it, this cuff design is incredible. Having it hard mounted in the back and then it slides on this point through the rivets, it just works so well. You have a ton of forward support, ton of lateral support. It makes the skate really responsive and supportive, but then it also like matches the natural flex of your ankle when you want to bend your leg forward. So top sides in these things feel amazing. Like, I feel like I can finally like bend down and get onto a top side and hold a top sole literally forever in these things. And there's no like inner cuff digging into your leg at all, because you're moving your leg forward in the boot and then bending your knee over. And it's just such a natural motion, a natural flex, but still incredibly supportive. And I think I would love to see some modern companies taking design cues from this thing. I don't know what the patents are when they run out, when people can steal this design, but man, I would love to see something like this cuff design out there in the world on a more modern skate. I think for any of the modders out there, I think that new Aeon cuff has some potential to be modded in this way with that adjustable up and down cuff, but we'll see what people do if anybody ever designs this to incorporate it into a more modern boot again. But I absolutely love this cuff. It skates so incredibly well. So unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on what side of the fence you're on, it does not look like Salomon is coming back into the market anytime soon, and rumor has it the molds were destroyed for this boot, which is the real true shame here. It'd be nice if someone else could buy them and produce them, but you know, that's what everybody who has returned to blading after a 15-year hiatus has to say about it as well. So will I keep skating these? Probably not. I'm probably going to clean them back up and just be happy to look at them every time I go into my shop. But that is only if that the new skates I have on the way fit me properly. The Sway has been good to me, but I'm ready to move on and try something new, and I've got a more modern skate on the way that I'm hoping I fall in love with, but we'll see. If they don't fit me, I'm not going to skate something that doesn't fit me well. And if that's the case, I might have to go full Salomon kid, because this was a very good experience and a breath of fresh air, and I certainly wouldn't mind putting more than one session on these skates. So we'll see what happens with that, but you guys will have to wait to find out. That's going to do it for this week. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Goodbye.